So I want to warn whoever's going to watch this video that this is potentially very triggering if you yourself are a victim of it or know somebody that has been a victim of it. But I want to talk about sexual abuse cover-up within the church Living Stream Ministry and why I think it's so prevalent. So unfortunately, I don't know if it's because of my personality, but a lot of people have opened up to me within the group of my time being there since pretty much since I would say I started hearing stories late high school years and then college on. I don't want to tell you guys all the stories I know, but just so that you guys know that I'm not bullshitting here, here's I'll tell you a few stories, right? So one guy that I met in college, a brother in college, he was always kind of known as like a partier, kind of crazy guy and stuff, and everyone kind of like wrote him off because, they didn't take him seriously as like a real brother and stuff. And I know that he had suffered with a lot of, internal struggles, but I didn't know what was the cause of it. I just thought, this guy just probably had a hard life or whatever. Well, it wasn't until his late 30s that he confessed to myself and a few other people that when he was in junior high, another brother, who, by the way, is still meeting, another brother in a junior high conference actually molested him in a very horrible way and left him traumatized. I mean, he had pretty horrible thoughts after that, of course, and he did try speaking up about it, but no one believed him, and if anything, he was silenced. And so he kind of just gave up on that and just kept it inside and suffered for a long time. And then it wasn't until a few years ago that he approached me and my husband at the time and told us about it. And I was like, man, I would not believe that the guy that he mentioned did it to him was the one that did it, because he's still within the group and he's still very much having people that are young boys at his home, and nobody talks about it. Everyone keeps it hush hush because there's nothing they can do about it. Well, it was a decade or so ago, or 2 decades ago. Why would anyone do anything about it at this point? And the elders know about it, but even when they found out that I knew about it, they were calling me to try to keep it hush hush, and I didn't answer the phone because I didn't want to be involved in keeping any of the secret. Well, I spoke to the victim himself, and we've communicated in the past, and I'm not sure if he ever pursued anything legal, but because of the whole keep the brothers, cover the brothers, sorry, and don't, sorry, this subject really pisses me off. Don't stumble the saints. We don't talk about these things, so we just keep it hush hush and we bury it and we don't talk about it, because what if people find out? The implications of keeping something like this a secret and not dealing with it legally is the fact that another person could potentially be a victim, and who knows how many people this guy actually did this to that aren't coming clean. I mean, so I have a lot of boys, and if one of my sons was in this guy's home and nobody ever told me, hey, be careful with him because, in the past he's done this and this to boys, and I just trusted him because he's so charismatic and sweet, and my sons were in his home, and that happened to one of my children, you better believe all hell will be raised. And this is the issue. This whole covering the brothers and not stumbling the saints. Shit happens in real life. And there's no reason why legal things like this shouldn't be taken care of by legal authorities. This guy should have been reported immediately, and he should have served prison time, but instead he's just walking around scot-free, doing who knows what to do to what other people. Now, the reason why I'm not calling up the police is because, unfortunately, it's been such a long time that I don't think there's any proof of evidence of it happening, and I'm leaving it up to my friend to decide what he wants to do about it. I'm not going to get myself involved like that, but I'll tell you what, it's damaged him completely, and he wants nothing to do with the group because of it, and it's messed him up psychologically. I'll give you another example. I have another friend that I grew up with since we were very, very young. And she was in the home of an elder in her locality, and she was, I think, 15 at the time, and the elder's oldest son, who was in his 20s, decided to rape her, do something terrible to her. She came and told her mom. She confessed to her mom, was also a very big zealot in the group, and her mom told her, either I can beat you here, or you can go and get on your knees and apologize to your brother and dad for what you've done, and blamed her. Another story. I know of another girl who was raised, she's had siblings and stuff, and her own father for years molested her and did terrible things to her. And they didn't report it to the police. Her mom didn't report it to police. They ended up moving to another locality, and she's still messed up because of it. Oh man, I know of another family who the grandfather was molesting his granddaughter when she was 2. And it happened for a few years, and the family members found out. Within the family, they said, hey, you know what, we should just cover our father and not say anything, make him move to another city. Well, he met another church and started visiting that church and was meeting with that church. No one cares. So it's more common than you guys think. And those are just a few stories from the dozens of stories I've heard. I don't want to sit here and talk about all of these triggering things. I just wanted you guys to know this is really happening, and it's happening a lot in this group. I'll give you one more example. I met a girl in college who was, so like when you're in the group, usually like if you're like a college student, you find 1 or 2 families you get really close to, and you go, and that's like your extended family. You go and you spend the night at their house, you're really close to them. Well, she really loved this one family, and the husband apparently really liked her, and she didn't know it because one night she went to go spend the night at their house. She was just minding her own business in her room, and the husband came into her room and while she was sleeping started touching her. She stopped meeting for several years because she didn't want to expose him and stumble the family and stumble the brothers, and she had major suicidal thoughts and psychological damage and was very angry and was like, why is he still in the meetings? He's sitting there in the front row. It really messed her up, guys, because of this whole concept of don't stumble the brothers and we don't report these things. I also had another girl, one more story, who was believed this one guy she was dating was a certain way and he was not, and he raped her, and it was very terrible and very, very traumatizing to her. And she ended up I think they did actually go to court, but he got away scot-free and is still meeting. So yeah, it's a great group. Great group, because doesn't that kind of sound like what the Catholic Church is doing when it comes to covering up their priests and all of the things that they've been doing? So whenever you're in a group and you can't legally do things, or there is a middleman like the elders who are the ones kind of orchestrating what's going on. So this is the protocol. If there's an issue in the group and you suffer something, or something's going on, any kind of friction or problem in your life, fellowship with the brothers. So you go fellowship with the brothers, and guess what? They kind of dictate or tell you or suggest, hey, you should do this or you should do that. And then you go ahead and go do this or do that, and they kind of have full control because they know now, hey, this is going on, and they go and they talk to all the other elder brothers, and they know, hey, this is the situation, this is what's going on. Guys, literally, it is happening so much. Like, if you're a parent and you're still in the group and you're just trusting your children with whoever to just watch your kids or just go off to this camp, and now I get this happens outside the church. I understand that, guys. But the idea and the concept that you're supposed to cover the brothers and not stumble the brothers and not cause division is a big, huge red flag as to why it's a cult. Because they want everything to be unified. They want their appearance. They want the group to look like it's just flawless, like nothing bad is happening here. But that's not the case, is it? Because as we've seen, other people have come out clean talking about this publicly. I'm not the only one, and it's just dismissed in the group. We're just ridiculed. We're called crazy for talking about it, like it's not a big deal. So yes, I feel very strongly about this subject because it is literally ruining people's lives forever. It's not just like, oh, this happened to me, oops. This is some serious stuff, guys, and this group knows it's happening, and they're not doing anything about it. They're not. You don't see any SWAT team rushing in to arrest a bunch of pedophiles, and the reason why pedophilia is prevalent within certain groups is because of this cover-up situation. This cover the brothers, oh, we'll just pray for them. Don't speak negatively about the saints. They're also just human beings, and they're also just pedophiles. Pedophiles can exist within church groups because of the system that's set up for them just so perfectly. Why do you think the guy from the first story I told you is still having people in his home? Because nobody's saying anything, and they're all too afraid to say anything. Because heaven forbid his wife finds out if she doesn't already know, or other friends of his find out. So yeah, it's kind of concerning. And if you're a parent and you have young children in that group, I highly suggest you get the hell out of that group, because pedophilia, molestation, rape, it's happening. It's happening a lot, and I'm not exaggerating, because I know several people that could vouch for these stories. Obviously, discretion has to be a thing, because it's not my personal story to be telling here on YouTube. But I would just plea that you consider these poor people and what they've been through, and the fact that a lot of them are told to just be quiet and just cover the brothers or just pray for them. Real psychological issues. That's another huge beef, and this is my last subject I'm going to talk about. They really double down on talking bad about psychology and talking bad about anyone that helps mental health things. Like, the environment is like, it's like a cesspool for mental health issues, because you're constantly talking negatively about yourself. Yourself is bad. Who you are is not good. You must only have God within you. So it's a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of putting down who you are as a person. If God created us, right? Just follow me here. And he created us perfectly, and we are created in his image. Then why would we put ourselves down if we are like him? The group is all about you as an identity, as a person, doesn't exist. It's only God, and it's this oneness, and you're not supposed to have an opinion. Even people's fashion through time changes. I've seen girls come into the group, they wear makeup, they got jewelry, they got like their vibes. Give it a year, they stop wearing makeup, they look all homely, they change their personality, they're not outgoing, they're quiet. It's some weird stuff going on, guys, and I really hope you guys are opening your eyes and just really paying attention to these things, because it's really happening in the group constantly, like regularly. Whenever your identity is not allowed to be expressed anymore, and you're supposed to just be uniform and just fit into this kind of like bubble of people, that's usually another huge sign that you're in a cult. Because having a personality, having an identity of who you are, working on yourself to improve, to be a better person, to not just, let your mind wander and have negative thoughts. Guys, for the last several years, you know what I've been doing? I have been unwinding all the negative self-talk that was taught to me in this group. It's so deep-rooted. It's so hard to get that negative chatter out, because we're told in the group from a young age that the self is not good for anything but death and burial. The self, that comprises your personality, your character, your soul, your emotions, your will, what makes us people. And we're supposed to just kill all of that and just like put it on the cross and just only show Jesus. I'm pretty sure Jesus had a personality, guys. Probably had a certain vibe about him. He probably liked certain things. It's okay to have a personality and to be a little bit different, to dress a certain way. It's okay to wear jewelry and makeup. It's okay to cut your hair short or have tattoos. I really don't think God cares about those little minuscule things. I honestly don't think he gives a damn about those little things. Just a little hunch. Anyways, TED Talk is over. I just wanted to make this video. I hope that it helps you guys. I'm going to put my email in the description. Please email me if you want to chat. And I hope that you guys can find some comfort. My baby just woke up, so I got to go. But I hope you guys are having a good day. Take care.